Good morning. Say I'm looking through some market stats again. I wanted to touch back on to some opportunities I see in the marketplace, or is it market shift? It's pretty early to tell, so I just wanted to share some of these numbers with you. I will go to my share screen here. Share screen. And all right, we'll start with the PowerPoint slide here. So if we go to the beginning, there we go. Single family, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Twin Cities. So we have three different markets we're going to look at here. So we have in blue here is the Twin Cities region. In red is the city of Minneapolis. And in the green is the city of St. Paul. And this is going to be the month's supply of homes. Back here, we have the housing crash. This was the boom time, and then the market crashed. That was our month's supply of homes. We had the first-time home buyer tax credit, and then we slowly burned off the inventory. So right now, April 2021, we're sitting at about 1.5 months supply. St. Paul's at 1.3, Minneapolis is at 1.5. And the Twin Cities region is at 1.4 months supply of homes. That just means at the current rate of sales, we're going to sell off all our inventory in 1.5 months. Obviously, more inventory keeps coming to the marketplace, and that's a number that keeps moving. But that just kind of gives us a benchmark on the pace of sales versus our inventory. So if we go to median percentage of original list price received, so we will see that people are getting 100% of what they're asking for on average, on the median, not average, median. St. Paul's getting a little stronger than that, but that's a little more affordable housing. So I think they're picking up more demand because house prices are getting pretty expensive and people are switching over to St. Paul. Easy commute, just jump across the river. And then we get into, this is kind of interesting, the median sales price. Obviously, we had the market crash here back, and then we crashed in 2008, 2009. And then that market price, the median sales price continued to climb. So Twin Cities region, year over year, we're up 10%. Minneapolis up 10.5%. St. Paul up almost 7%. So median sales price of $339, Twin Cities, $315 in Minneapolis, $248 in St. Paul. Where we get into some interesting opportunities, or is this early sign of market shift? Month supply of homes for sale. These are the condominiums. So I just selected condominiums. And then again, we have the Twin Cities region, city of Minneapolis, city of St. Paul. Housing crash here. This was the peak of the housing bubble. The crash, increased month supply. We slowly burned off inventory. And then look at this jump up here. We are at Twin Cities region, 3.2 month supply, almost twice the supply of condominiums in the Twin Cities. When we look at the city of Minneapolis, we're getting into 4.9 month supply of condominiums in the city of Minneapolis, 4.2 month supply of condominiums in St. Paul. So that's drastically different from our look at the single family. So there's a couple dynamics that go on here. One is we had the pandemic, so maybe people are looking at getting into single families, getting out of that high density housing where they share elevators, common space, that kind of stuff. And we thought some of that might happen. What else is interesting on the condominium market is it doesn't take much to oversupply that market, right? So if you build one house into into a housing market, that one house doesn't saturate the supply. But when you bring on a condominium project, you will dump 100+ units into the market overnight. And you may have several developers that are in the process. This takes, a year, 2-3 years to get these projects going, sometimes longer to get the zoning approvals and accumulate the land. Sometimes you have to assemble property to build these larger complexes. And then suddenly you have 3 or 4 developers all dropping 300-400 units onto the market at one time, and we oversaturate things rapidly. So we may be experiencing some of this. There are some towers going up right now that this market might shift a bit. We may see this number spike. But what happens when we start getting into that 4.9, 5-month supply, that's a balanced market. And what happens in a balanced market is prices start to stabilize. And then eventually they start to come down. So what we're seeing on the median percent of original list price is we're seeing in the Twin Cities 98.6 median sales price of what the original list price was, and 97.6, 98% in Minneapolis and St. Paul. So what that's doing to the prices is we're seeing the prices drop. So in the Twin Cities regions on condominiums, we've seen pricing come down about 1%. It doesn't seem like much. When you look at the city of Minneapolis, though, that's an 8% drop in median sales price. And, I'm guessing different buildings are going to draw different pricing. We'll have to dive in deeper to see the opportunity, but this is a market to kind of watch and see if there's some opportunities to buy there, or to see if this might be the canary in the coal mine. If the market's starting to shift here, it usually kind of shows its head in our region in the condo market, just because of how quickly you can add supply. I'm suspecting that some of this is supply issue. I also suspect some of this is kind of the market shift on people wanting to get into, they don't need the urban core as much anymore. So I think there is kind of a movement that direction, but I do want to watch this closer. So I wanted to jump over to another share screen window. Here we go. See if I can find this now. Okay. Yep. Now we're going to be live on the actual software that I was looking at. So condo, we dropped from Minneapolis from 295 down to 255. That is a big drop. So I think there may be some opportunities there if you're looking at investing or you're looking at a home. I would watch this market closely. I would also kind of watch it for see what happens here. I think we're going to see some interesting numbers. Here's a project, the 11 tower. This is like a 40-some story tower that's being built right now. Large units, expensive units. So sales prices, I think, start at like 900,000 or something crazy. I haven't dug into that one that closely. But 11, that building can change some of the stats here, because if you have I think there's 117 units coming in here, 110 units, and these will all kind of close simultaneously. And as these close, those stats are going to be showing up here. So I think what we may see is this, we'll see a surprise uptick in median sales price because we're closing out those expensive tower units. But the overall market may have some opportunities in it. And this is just kind of an interesting look at what's happening down there. I don't have specific answers to this one, but we do need to watch this one closely because I think this is going to be telling us something in the months to come. So that's all I noticed this morning as I'm kind of poking around online. A lot of stuff happening in the market. We're feeling it slow down a little bit. There's not showing up in the stats yet. But just kind of that overall pace seems to have slowed down a bit. It may be kind of that natural cycle as we head into graduations, the spring market. The fever pitch slows down a little bit as we come into the summer months. So we may be experiencing that, something to keep an eye on going forward. So for that, I'm signing off and we will talk to you soon.